Dear scholars, Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon, welcome in the session. These days we are discussing comparative political culture, and our discussions are based on a book chapter which is written by Sydney Verba, a well known name around the world on political culture. Our today's discussion is the third discussion on this topic. It is part three, and this chapter is taken from the book which is titled Political Culture and Political Development. The book is edited by Lucian Pai and Sydney Verba together. Identification with one's fellow citizens. Identification with one's fellow citizens. It is also an aspect of a political culture. And when we compare various political cultures, it is again important, it is relevant. National identity is a vertical connection. It is one aspect of the national identity. It is vertically connected. It means attachment to the state and its symbols. It is the vertical attachment of the citizens. But there is also a horizontal connection. It is the second aspect of identity, national identity. This is about how people feel about other citizens. It is horizontal connection of national identity. How people feel about other citizens. This horizontal identification means, do people feel they are part of the same community? It is the basic question about the horizontal dimension of national identity. Do they feel connected to other members of society? A key point here is trust. We have discussed trust several times during this course in several sessions. Trust is a basic requirement for a good healthy life, good family life, good social life, and good political life. A key point in national identity is trust. A horizontal dimension of, I think, both vertical as well as horizontal dimensions of national identity, both of them require trust, as we will see it in detail in the coming discussion, upcoming points. Another question is, do people trust other political actors? Now, Sydney Verba is discussing trust. How trust is important in a healthy political culture. Do people trust other political actors? Do people have confidence in fellow citizens? This trust is linked to general views about human nature. Some cultures think people are mostly trustworthy. Other cultures think people are mostly untrustworthy. So, in some cultures, people think other people can be trusted. In some cultures, people generally think people are not trustable, they cannot be trusted. In some societies, trust is limited to family only. In some societies, trust is limited to family only. But unfortunately, as I observe, as I see in our society, even within the family, trust is lacking, particularly in husbands and wives. I have observed dozens and twenties of families very closely. In my relatives, in my friends, there is a sheer lack of trust between husband and wife. So it is a basic problem in our society. It also extends to our political life, our political system, our political culture. It affects it negatively. Sometimes even family members are not fully trusted. This affects politics directly. People outside the family are seen as enemies. People outside the family are seen as rivals. Political opponents are seen as hostile. Economic rivals are also seen as antagonistic. Economic rivals, business competitors, they are seen less as competitors and more as antagonistic, more as rivals. Because of this, elections are seen as conflicts. Organizations deal with each other in hostile ways. Labor and management relations become tense. Labor and management relations become confrontational rather than friendly. But sometimes political trust is different from general trust. Sometimes political trust is different from general trust. A person may trust people in everyday life but distrust them in politics. It is another important aspect of the difference between general culture and political culture. General trust and political trust. This happens when politics is seen as conflict driven. This happens when groups have opposing interests and ideologies. Or this happens when politics is seen as dirty, when politics is seen as disreputable. Politicians are viewed with less trust than ordinary people. I repeat it. Politicians are viewed with less trust than ordinary people. So, irrespective of the fact whether politicians are really bad or not, they are viewed with less trust than ordinary people. Trust is especially important for democracy. So, in advanced democratic cultures, in advanced democratic systems, this is not the case. People generally trust their politicians. People generally trust, to some extent at least, they trust their leaders. Without trust, people won't accept opponents in power. So, when the governments change, another party takes over power in place of the previous one. So people wholeheartedly accept the other party in democratic cultures. But if they don't trust the other party, it may lead to uh, problems, chaos, it may lead to civil war. They won't allow peaceful competition if there is no trust. They won't accept change of government if there is no trust of the political competitors, if there is no trust on other parties. Democracy requires belief that opponents are not dangerous. It is a requirement of a democratic political culture that opponents are not dangerous. People should believe. Democracy requires belief that everyone belongs to the same community. So, a unity, a national identity is a basic requirement for a democratic culture. In some systems like Britain, politics depends heavily on interpersonal trust. Interpersonal trust. Many rules are informal but respected in Britain. When trust is broken, It shocks the political system because the system depends on mutual confidence. Trust also matters in non democratic systems. If people trust leaders, leaders can govern more easily. If people do not trust leaders, leaders must use force, leaders must use coercion if people do not trust leaders. This can make the system unstable. When the governments will have to use coercion, well, the governments will have to use force to maintain order, to to maintain stability. It makes the system unstable. Horizontal trust and national identity are closely linked. If people do not share a common national identity, they cannot easily trust each other. So it means if people trust each other, uh, then the nation has a stronger national identity. If people do not trust one another, there's no enough trust, then the national identity is weak. And if the national identity is weak, they, you cannot have a strong political culture, you cannot have a flourishing democratic political culture in the country. They identify with tribes. If people do not share a common national identity, they cannot easily trust each other. They identify with tribes, they identify with regions, or they identify with groups instead. If people do share national identity, it creates a bond among citizens. It acts like a glue holding society together. It acts like a glue holding society together. But these two can still differ. People may love their country but still distrust other citizens. People may love their country but still distrust other citizens. I don't know, you may agree or you may not. Many Pakistanis, yes, they love Pakistan, but they don't trust Pakistanis, other Pakistanis. So overall, identification with fellow citizens is equal to trust plus sense of shared community. Overall, identification with fellow citizens is equal to trust plus sense of shared community. It is a core part of political culture. It strongly shapes how politics actually works. Now, governmental output, governmental performance, delivery by the governments. So far, we talked about what the political system is. So far, we have been focusing on this question in our discussion: what the political system is, who belongs to it, who belongs to the political system. It has been our focus so far. Now we move to a new question. The new question is, what does the political system do? The previous question was what political system is. Now we are going to focus on what does the political system do? What are its functions? Focus here is on what people expect from the government, what they think government should do, what people think government will do. These questions will be under focus in the upcoming discussion. Expectations from government. So, when we focus on these questions, what people expect from the government, what people think government should do, and what people think governments will do, then we also need to consider the expectations from government, expectations of the people from government. Government does many things. Expectations can be very different. So we simplify the question: do people expect anything at all from government? So it may be the case that people don't expect anything at all. It is also possible. Do people expect anything at all from government? There are two extremes. The first extreme is parochial culture. In parochial cultures, people expect nothing from government. Is it not surprising? It may be surprising for some of us. In parochial cultures, people expect nothing from government. People focus on family. In parochial cultures, people focus on local community. In parochial cultures, people solve problems themselves. In such cultures, government is not important in their lives. And there is the second extreme. First extreme is the parochial culture, in which people don't expect anything from the government. The second extreme is active expectation culture. People expect government to act, they expect it to be involved in many areas of life. Government is seen as responsible for many things. Then, important transitions. When we talk about parochial cultures and active participant cultures, uh, we can identify transitions. Cultures transition from parochial cultures to active participant cultures. A big change happens when people go from no expectations to clear expectations. Another important shift is from expecting government to maintain things. It is one stage in the progress of political cultures, from expecting government to maintain things to expecting government to bring change. So it is another advanced stage. This difference explains traditional systems versus modern systems. Modern expectations. In modern societies, people expect government to improve life. In modern societies, in modern political cultures, people expect government to improve life. They expect change through government. But this is not permanent. Some rich societies now reduce political expectations. People try to solve problems privately instead, even in some modern cultures, modern societies. Impact of expectations. Expectations matter because they set goals. Expectations matter. They count because they set goals for the political system. Expectations increase pressure on government. More expectations means more load on the system. Cultures that value action, cultures that value achievement will demand more from government. There will be more demands, more expectations if a political culture values action and achievement. Who creates these expectations? Who creates these expectations? Expectations do not always come from the public. Often, political elites create these expectations. Example pattern. Elites push for change, people start expecting change, then elites must deliver results. So, this is a cycle. Elites push for change, then people start expecting change, then elites must deliver results. So, when people start expecting, it increases pressure on the elites to deliver. Who benefits? Criteria of judgment. A criteria of judgment is involved when we try to answer the question who benefits from expectations and from the government's response to the expectations. People judge government based on which group benefits. Individuals belong to many groups. Individuals belong to family, region, religion, nation. These are all groups. Different types of criteria. So when people judge government, when people judge performance of the governments, they resort to different criteria. There is a narrow criteria. A narrow criteria focus only on family. It focuses only on local group. So they judge the government if their family is benefiting, if their group is benefiting. Example, judging policies by family benefit. Broad criteria focus on national interest. Broad criteria ignore personal benefit. Broad criteria ignore local benefit. They focus on national interest. Reality. Most societies use a mix of criteria. So societies do not resort to single criteria, narrow or broad. Most societies use both narrow criteria as well as broad criteria. Pluralistic versus rigid culture. There are pluralistic political cultures, there are rigid political cultures. If many criteria are used, culture is more pluralistic. When people judge performance of the government, and if they if many of them many of the criteria are used, then the culture is more pluralistic. If only one criterion is used, culture is more rigid. Another difference, some cultures use the same rule always. Some cultures use the same rule always. Others change criteria depending on situation. What government does to people? It is another aspect of the political culture. What government does to people? Government does not only give benefits, it also regulates behavior. It also takes taxes. It also imposes rules. Key question here is, do people accept government authority? It is another important aspect of a political culture. Do people accept government authority? There are two attitudes when we consider this question. Do people accept government authority? There is a positive attitude. If people have positive attitude towards the governmental authority, they respect for political system, and there is obedience to law, and there is trust in authority. There is a negative attitude towards the government authority. In such a case, government is seen as exploitative. People resist laws when there is a negative attitude towards government authority, and there is a lack of civic behavior. Lack of civic behavior. It is again very important. All these things are very important indeed. Why this matters? Respect for government creates stability. If people accept the governmental authority, it creates stability. It builds support for the system. If there is lack of respect for the governmental authority, it leads to conflict. It weakens the political system. This sport is one of the most important resources for any political system. Now, the process of making decisions. It is another important aspect, important dimension of a political culture. The process of decision making. Now we talk about beliefs about how government makes decisions or how people think decisions should be made. This is the last major part of political beliefs. Do people even care about decision making? Do people have clear beliefs about how decisions are made? Do people think about how government handles public demands? In some societies, people do not have such beliefs, or these beliefs are not important. In some societies, people do not have such beliefs, and or these beliefs are not important in some societies. People do not know how decisions are made in some societies. People do not care how decisions are made. People only care about results. People only care about benefits or losses. This happens when people see themselves as subjects, not participants. So people don't care about the decision making process if they consider themselves as subjects. So subjects are the citizens of authoritarian systems. Participants are the citizens of democratic systems. So this happens when people see themselves as subjects, when people don't see themselves as participants in the political system. They feel they have no real say in government. So if people don't have any say in decision making, generally they don't care about it. Government is something done to them. In authoritarian cultures where people are not participants, government is something done to the citizens, done to the subjects. Government is not something they take part in. Do people agree on the rules of decision making? It is another question. This may be even more important than agreements on results. This may be even more important than agreement on results. The key issue here is, do people agree on how decisions should be made? Role of the individual in politics. It is a very important question. What is the role of an ordinary person in politics? How does a person see their own role? How does a person see their own role? Two extreme beliefs about participation. One extreme is people believe they should actively take part. They think they can influence decisions. It is one extreme. The other extreme is people think participation is useless or even wrong or illegitimate. Reality is no system is purely one sided. No political culture is 100% one type. Even in democratic systems, people are encouraged to participate but also expected to respect authority. Even in democratic systems, people are encouraged to participate but also expected to respect authority. Even in authoritarian systems, some limited participation still exists. Balance between participation and authority. Political cultures usually mix both ideas: participation, obedience, respect for authority. Political cultures usually mix both ideas: participation as well as obedience. Obedience means respect for authority. Connection with political commitment. Identity is linked to commitment to the political system. Commitment is equal to emotional attachment plus willingness to support the system. Commitment is equal to emotional attachment plus willingness to support the system. Government performance matters. If people expect good performance, failure can weaken commitment. If people expect good performance, failure of the government to deliver can weaken commitment of the citizens. If government performs well, it can build stronger long-term loyalty among the people. Loyalty may become independent of day-to-day performance. Sometimes loyalty is not linked to the performance of the government. But performance alone is not enough in modern times to gauge loyalty, to measure loyalty. In the past, good performance alone could create loyalty. Today, even a well performing service state is not enough. Why? People also want participation. Participation and emotional connection. If people cannot participate, government feels distant. If people cannot participate, emotional attachment remains weak. Even if administration works well, people may still feel cold if they don't have the right to participate. Even if administration works well, people may still feel disconnected. Key idea of this whole section: political culture includes beliefs about how decisions are made, beliefs about who should participate, beliefs about whether participation is useful or not. Political culture includes all types of these beliefs. Strong systems usually combine participation plus respect for authority. If people participate in the political system and if they respect the authority, it means there is a strong political system. Strong systems usually not rely on only one of these two things. The relations among political beliefs. It is not enough to just list different political beliefs. What matters more is how these beliefs are connected to each other. Many relationships have already been mentioned. Now, the focus is on how different political beliefs combine, how different political beliefs fit together, and why this combination matters. What happens when people learn new political beliefs? As the person becomes more involved in politics, his political beliefs become stronger and richer. Then an important question comes up: what happens to his old beliefs? There are two possibilities: old beliefs are replaced, or on new beliefs are added on and mixed with old ones. This difference is very important. It helps us understand how political cultures develop. This difference is helpful in understanding how political cultures develop. Example 1, national identity. A person may develop loyalty to the nation. This can happen in two ways. It replaces loyalty to local groups. Loyalty to the nation, loyalty to the state replaces loyalty to local groups. It is one possibility. Groups will mean like tribe, region. Or the national loyalty coexists with local loyalties side by side. There are both possibilities. Example 2, participation versus obedience. A person may start believing I can take part in government decisions. This belief can develop in two ways. It replaces the old belief I am just a subject who obeys laws. It is an old type of belief. A citizen believes I am just a subject who obeys laws, or it is added on top of the old belief without removing it. If participation replaces obedience, then people may challenge political leaders more. So, when societies transition from authoritarianism to democracy, in many cases, it leads to instability because when people get the right to participate in the political system, they no more they obey the state. They challenge the state. They challenge the leaders. This can lead to a populist system. A possible result is government may become less effective. If participation is combined with obedience, people believe both. If participation and obedience are combined, people believe both. One belief is I can participate, and the second belief is I must still respect authority. Both of these beliefs need to coexist. I can participate and I must still respect authority. This creates a balance. Result is that government keeps its independence and citizens still participate. It is the result of this when both beliefs coexist. System becomes more stable and it becomes more effective. The main question is, does change mean rejecting old beliefs or adding new beliefs to old ones? Does change mean rejecting old beliefs or does change mean adding new beliefs to old ones? When new beliefs are built on old ones, change can happen without major social disruption. Old traditions can help keep society united during change. Older, more passive beliefs can control extreme demands for participation. But there is a trade off. There is a trade off. There is a compromise in it. Old beliefs can also slow down or block change. Old beliefs can also slow down change. Old beliefs can also block change. Real world pattern is in countries like Britain, Japan, Ethiopia, traditional beliefs stayed strong. But now these traditions are starting to look like obstacles on the path of progress. So, with this, our today's discussion comes to the end. My presentation comes to the end. In the next session, we will discuss political style. So I am closing YouTube and I join you back on the Google Meet. Just a few seconds, please.